Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
This is like the start of the old days on Saturdays when we were.
It really
Joe?
is.
And Joe, where's Joe? Joe will be here in a couple minutes. Don't worry, he just parked in the garage.
Just leaving the house.
I'm right here looking at a very nice bird. I'm looking at a bird.
Here we go again.
Yeah,
Here
you're
we
looking
go.
at the birds too, huh?
Yeah, you like birds?
Oh man, I do.
I love birds.
But yesterday, I was just going around the corner taking the garbage out, and
Sure.
the tree was full of them up there, and they were looking down at me, and I was thinking they're saying, you know, how do you guys like it now? We had bird flu. We were dropping out of the sky left and right. You didn't give a bleep. Now
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah.
We're up here chirping, getting the gals to come over for a little romance.
Yeah.
We're doing, we're eating, there's no snow. We can eat off the ground anything we want. We're having the time of our lives.
Yeah.
And you jackasses aren't even out of the house to bother us. It's
Right.
No.
The birds are really in good shape right now.
They're taking over again.
They
Wildlife is
are,
everywhere.
yeah. Hitchcock's going to have to make another movie.
A couple of weeks ago, you said something on Twitter about the stupid geese every spring, and
Yeah.
you haven't spent a spring up north next to a lake in a while because it's like spring break with the geese. They do not shut up. They're all night long. Seriously.
Oh, really?
2 a.m, they're out there chasing ass and grabbing tail and playing and getting drunk and flying by.
The guys don't get along.
No, they
At
fight.
this time of year, they don't get along.
Yeah.
Pat, did you see the big fire at the rental car lot at the airport in Fort Myers?
No, what the heck
Massive
happened?
fire.
The main
helicopters.
the main one.
Yeah, the Southwest Regional Airport. They have a field out there where they keep all the rental cars.
Oh, okay.
And they're
Not-
all destroyed.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where the backups are all now because nobody's renting a car, obviously.
Kenny and I are a bit suspicious.
In the ramp there is where you pick up your car when you leave.
Right,
But
right.
these are the ones.
But
these are
there's
the extra ones.
hundreds of them. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's a huge field.
Well,
and the whole thing burned.
Can you imagine how many cars they pump in there in February, figuring they're going to rent thousands of them, and nobody ever rents one?
Right.
Right.
You know.
So an insurance fire, huh?
Oh, I'm
Kind
not
of like
saying
the
that.
press.
Wait a
kinda
minute.
like the press bar in St. Cloud.
Exactly.
We don't know that.
I said.
Exactly.
No, we don't know that.
No, we
don't
don't.
know
we
that.
don't.
Oh, yeah, we do know about the press, though. That guy is shifty, man.
And remember the email that we got for suspecting that
Yeah.
that was the case, and it turned out to be true.
Yeah, Pat, I swear that bar owner, he had to be on the Trailer Park Boys, didn't he? He's just as shifty as somebody on the
I
Trailer
haven't
Park
seen him
Boys.
on TV. Has he been on TV?
Oh, he had a lot of things going.
Well, that's there's two choices. And when you're in the bar business like that, when you start going on the tank, you can either take your losses or try to burn her down and screw the insurance company.
In fact, Kenny, what was the documentary we watched on First Avenue last week? The guy that said, "You want to know how to make $1 million owning a nightclub? Start with 2."
Yeah.
Didn't the first ever
Start with 2. I don't get it.
So you know how to make $1 million
Start with 2.
owning a nightclub? You start with $2 million.
That was Carl Polad's answer.
No, that was Marv Wolfenson's. That was Harvey Ratner's line about Marv Wolfenson. He said, Marv made me a millionaire. They were partners. He said, I used to be a multimillionaire.
Right.
Getting him to buy into the Timberwolves. He said, I
Well,
used to be a
Well, Carl said something like, if you want to be a millionaire, start with $1 billion and produce movies.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that was his. That's when his son Bill he leaped
Right.
into that business, right?
Well, he put out some great films, though.
He did. So Kenny got us going today on the greatness of the Last Picture Show, and I was trying to think: has Bogdanovich ever made another great movie?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me see if I can come up with a list of his movies.
I mean, he's lived off that for 45 years. Every time there's a big Hollywood documentary, he's commenting on
Pat,
it.
there isn't one wasted second in that movie. Every single second is essential to that movie.
I got to see it again.
I
It's
watched
been
it.
so long.
I watched it twice, back to back, over the weekend. It's
And
unbelievable.
You know, the best thing he does to describe the dreariness of this town is that the football star is lusting after Cloris Leachman. That's how bad it was.
Right. and
Mrs. And she was her dowdy best. She was doing her dowdy best in that.
What's Up, Doc? That was all right, wasn't it?
I said a great movie. He never made another. Did he make Texasville?
Yes.
That was a sequel 25 years later, and it was horrendous.
That was a stinker. Jeez.
You guys seen my recommendation yet? Cutter's Way?
Oh yes, many times, many times.
Wonderful movie.
Really good. Yes,
Yep.
yes, it's really, really good movie. You know what? I watched. I don't want to say my life is boring, but I watched Hero Dreams of Sushi last night. It's a documentary about a guy from Japan who's an 85-year-old master of sushi. I don't eat sushi.
No.
But I said, okay, they got a show on sushi. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sushi, they cook more sushi than you think. It's not all raw fish. It's kind of a scam.
Oh.
You know, there's a lot. They cook a lot more. of
Have
it
you
than think.
dived into Tiger King yet?
No.
Okay.
I started and I said, this is really stupid.
I told you guys he would have that
Yep,
reaction.
you did. You
I
absolutely
know
did.
my man. I know
Should
my
I
man.
stick with it?
No, hell no. It's pathetic.
Yeah. Well, you know, I got like nieces that are college graduates who thinks it's the greatest thing ever. So,
Yeah.
Yuck.
yeah, I guess it's for the youth of America. Do you like it, Reavers?
I haven't. I know I'll become obsessed with it if I start watching, but I haven't started
Well, it's
it
just
yet.
about a goofy SOB.
Right. But which kind of shocks me because you love characters.
Yeah, but it's when they were working so hard to create a
Okay.
character. You know,
Okay.
they were working so hard to do it.
You wearing a mask yet, Pat?
No, they weren't working hard at all. I mean, the guy is. You give it. Just watch the first episode, please. Just the first one.
God, I gave it 10 minutes.
Not you. You don't know what good is.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Royce.
Pat, are you wearing
I
a
might get it when I start watching sushi. I'm not far from taking a shot at anything.
Just watch the first episode.
Okay.
Well, we learned Friday that you had a pretty busy day. You watched both the garbage truck and the recycling truck go
Yeah,
by.
they came by. That
Did
was
you have
good.
your stopwatch out too?
How many episodes are there of the Tiger King?
7, if I remember right. And there's
Well, you know who watched it over the weekend? All 7? The CP.
Oh
Did
boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is she a fan now?
What'd she say?
She's enthralled by crazy people.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's fascinating. Patrick, you're right. He didn't do anything else as big or as successful as the Last Picture Show. As a matter of fact, he just, before the Last Picture Show, he had crap. A movie called Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women.
Yeah, I would say that might have been a drive-in theater triple feature movie. That one.
Yeah.
He's lived off it forever, man.
But wow, it's just so good. So good.
You see what they did with the Open Championship, Pat?
When are we going to play
Canceled till next year.
it? Really?
Wow.
Where was it supposed to be? Royal St. George's, right?
Yeah, and then the Masters announced today or over the weekend that they'll hold the Masters in November.
Wow.
November.
Wow.
Aren't they going to have some daylight problems in November?
Yeah, you're right. They better play a little faster. They're gonna have to use 2 tees. Oh my God! No, they're doing that already, though. They are doing that already.
Couldn't
so.
they just make it go an extra day or two?
No, you can't just stop and play again tomorrow. The weather conditions change and everything. So
We wrestled again today with a question you might have brought up last week, and that is, How are we going to know when we can go back to a ball game?
Yes, I mean, I was actually talking to Wetmore about this today because he saw something. A guy from The Athletic did a long piece on, okay, if they get all the baseball teams down in Arizona and they're going to start playing, right? Games for TV without crowds and stuff. What if somebody tests positive in one of the clubhouses? Do we then shut her down again?
Yeah.
What's the limit of, I mean, how much exposure do we need to start playing or to even start gathering? I mean, what's the cutoff point for our fear factor that it's going to grow again?
We've got to have a cure in hand.
Yeah,
That's the only
probably.
thing I can come up with.
It was explained to me by a fellow in the medical profession that people like Mike Osterholm, who I admire tremendously, Tony Fauci, who I admire tremendously, they're like cancer doctors. They're going to do whatever it takes to kill the cancer. They don't care if you end up looking like you're 102 years old, you're only 32.
Yeah.
They're going to kill it. They're going to do everything they can because that's what they do.
Yes.
And so when we continue to take all this advice from Fauci and Osterholm, all of it is wise counsel. But I bet you if you ask them, when will it be safe to have a ball game again or just lead our lives normally again, I bet their answer is we're not even close to that.
Oh,
I bet
yeah.
you that's their
Oh, I
answer.
bet that's the
we're not
answer.
even remotely close.
Well, and hey, unless we figure something out, it comes back next November, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We
Well,
never-
Fauci's already saying he anticipates this will be seasonal. So our only hope there is to have the vaccine developed.
Well, it ain't no fun. I got to tell you, it ain't no fun.
No, it's a
That's
some
no. When the
Bleep
wife
this
says,
bleep.
when the wife says, "Where are you going now?" And I say, "I'm going for a drive because I can't stand it. I'm
Yeah.
going to drive out." By the way, I went out. I got a place on the Crow River in Rockford that I like to go out and
Lurk.
see it babble
Yeah.
along there, and then
Oh, I'm
walk
finding
down,
this creepy. This is
walk
creepy.
down the path. They had that all locked up and sealed off.
You're kidding.
No, like a river.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
No,
Come on.
Joe, Pat's right, because I also have my secret road. I had to deliver goods to my folks on Saturday, so I took the extra scenic route
Well,
to
I
get
would
down
too.
there too.
Why
Just
not? Why not?
Driving through the countryside because the neighbor had the old World Series game, game one of the '87 on. I thought,
That's
well,
right.
I'm going to listen to
I was
this.
Listen to that.
Well, I got news for you bastards. None of you are invited up to my place. COVID or not, stay away.
I talked to the Glad man today because I got all fired up when the Gladdy hit the Grand Slam.
Oh, man.
So I'm thinking of doing a piece here in a month or so, or a couple weeks. Okay, Gladdy started it in '87 with that slam, right?
Sure.
I mean, that slam said, "Hey, we're going to win this game."
Yep.
And he ended it in '91 by hustling for a double and then scoring a run. So
For sure.
I'm going to try to get inside that weird brain of his to what the thoughts were, what, the set up both those situations and kind of bring them together. So I was talking to him today. He's in Arizona. He got a place in Arizona. He came back on the Twins charter when they all came back, and then his tenant down there, he's got a tenant in his house down there, and he bailed. She bailed. So he went down to, and he hasn't been able to come back because his wife says, if you come back on a plane, I'm quarantining you for 2 weeks. So he can't come back.
But she's here. His wife is here,
yeah.
and he's in Arizona.
He's in Arizona, yes.
Tell me what's wrong with
Yeah.
that. You can't
Well,
tell me.
He's acting like he's suffering. So.
Yeah, I bet he is.
Anyway.
Oh no, honey, I really want to come home.
But anyway, say, you know who, Joe, I was writing about the guy throwing marshmallows at Billy Martin today, right?
Yep.
Boy, was he crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go back and look at all of it to see how crazy he was. This man was, a year before he punched the by the way, the marshmallow salesman. I guess we talked about this the other
Not
day, right?
muscle, man.
Right. but it's the marshmallow. This is the only civilian in history who ever got punched where you can't say, yeah, he punched a guy. Everybody says he punched the marshmallow salesman.
Right,
'Cause
right.
we didn't even know there were marshmallow salesmen until Joseph Cooper got punched. But a year before that, he punched a sports writer in Reno.
Yep.
He was out there. Musselman knew him. Musselman, not Marshmallow, you dummy. Musselman had him come out for the Reno Bighorns' first game. 25-year-old kid from the Reno paper shows up. He's interviewing him at halftime. Billy's lit already. Decides he doesn't want to do the interview and tries to steal the kid's notes. The kid grabbed him back and Billy punched him. 25.
Wow.
And he punched a guy in Texas. And I mean, he punched his own pitcher, Boswell. He just loved to punch people.
What was the deal with the horse?
That I did not be able to. I was not able to find that story on the internet. But I would swear on the grave of Jane Cecilia McDonough Ricey, my mother, I read a story.
I did too.
Sometime in the 80s.
Yep.
Billy's, I think it was Anaheim Hills, California. It was somewhere in Orange County. The police had to remove him from a property because he was laying on the front lawn screaming about a horse.
That's right. I remember the same thing.
Yes.
Wow.
Screaming about a horse. And they didn't arrest him as much as they removed him from the property and basically took him somewhere.
Because he was nuts. Why did Steinbrenner love him so much?
I think it was a very sick relationship.
Yeah.
It's like it's a woman or a man who goes back to an abusive spouse. It was
Really?
I think he loved the control of five times. He fired him 5 times.
Yeah, what are the sex services where you go in and you paid to get the
Dominatrix.
the bleep kicked out of you? Yeah, it's one of those deals.
That was him. I gotta tell
Dude, you must know.
I gotta tell you a classic Sid, right?
Yeah.
I told you the classic Sid about that. I was looking through something and the Gophers. This was '87. And the Gophers had lost the Liberty Bowl to Tennessee in '86. And then Tennessee, before the Gophers had played a game, defeated Iowa. And Sid had a graph in there about how good the Iowa Gophers should feel about that game, that Liberty Bowl, because Tennessee beat Iowa. So he'd already declared them a moral victory before they'd played a game. In '87, they already had a moral victory. But the best one is Billy is out here April, 25th of '80, and the guy's throwing marshmallows at him, the guy in the French hat. And he's up behind the dugout. There's 2,700 people at that game, Joe. And the guy's flipping marshmallows at him, and Billy goes fruitcake. And Sid the next day writes how composed Billy remained. Meanwhile, after the game, Billy is calling this guy every homophobic slur in the history of man, dropping the British word for cigarettes left and right. But
Listen to
Sid's
this.
saluting him.
What'd you
Listen
find?
to this.
What'd you find?
Listen to this. I didn't find Billy Martin and horse, but I found this. Around 1990, give or take a year, my father bought me a Mickey Mantle autobiography that came with the VHS of Mickey Mantle, The Lost Story Special Edition. If you have never seen this, you must. I just Googled and found it on DVD and ordered one. The video shows Mickey Mantle as an old man telling stories with film and photo highlights. One story he tells is of the Billy Martin shot a cow story. Now, one day, Mickey Mantle and Billy Martin went hunting on some land owned by a friend of Mickey Mantle. The two drove up to the land where the friend also had his house. Before they started their hunt, Mantle left to tell his friend what they were planning. His friend said, "No problem. However, there's one thing you can do for me. I have an old horse and I need to put it down, but I can't bring myself to do it." Mantle didn't want to do that. He said, "No, I can't do that." But the friend was persistent. "Really, it would mean a lot to me if you could. I just can't do it myself." The Yankees were well known for playing tricks on each other. Mantle and Martin were roommates, giving them a good history of pranks on each other. So Mantle decided to pull a fast one on Martin. He returned to the car and told Martin, "Some friend, he won't let us hunt. I'll show him." Acting all mad, he grabs his hunting rifle. "Calm down, Mickey," Billy said. "It'll be all right." "No, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson." So Mantle grabs the rifle, aims at the horse, and shoots it. It drops down, and suddenly he hears 2 shots in the background. He turns around, and Billy is running back to the car, yelling at Mickey, "I just shot one of his cows."
be true. But we'll go with it. Oh God! I was looking back at the stuff when he punched the marshmallow salesman. He was on his way. He'd been South Dakota hunting with Howard Wong, who was. This is the goofiest relationship ever.
Yep.
Howard, but I think Howard didn't drink, and he was his chauffeur. You know, and. But he was going to go down to Texas. He was heading down to Texas to meet Mick, going down to Texas to see Mick after he got done punching the marshmallow salesman. And what a beauty! He got fired. Steinbrenner fired him that time 6 days later after he punched it. Because remember all the stories that Sid used to have? Billy's never looked better, Steinbrenner said.
Yeah.
You'd see this little wiener walking around and barely, Yeah. It's amazing.
You know, Shulian. Remember John Shulian?
Oh yeah, Shulian. Yeah.
He had a great line about Billy Martin. Billy Martin is a mouse trying to become a rat.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah,
he was just a weasel, boy, he commanded this loyalty from guys. It was incredible.
So he was good.
Well, he won games, but
hell, he won a World Series or two, didn't he?
With the Yankees. Yeah.
Did he turn any teams around?
Well,
did
the
he come
Twins.
in?
Twins, yeah.
The 68 Twins flopped. 67 they were good. 68 they flopped, but they were still good. And 69 he won 97 games and won the West. And then the next year, then he got fired and they won 98 the next year, and then they went in the tank. But I don't know. Carew loved him. Carew thought he was great. But man alive, every time I dealt with him, he was just despicable. Just a drunken. I was in Fort Lauderdale in '88. This was the last time they brought him back. And once again, Sid, I think, had actually visited his Fort Lauderdale estate and went and saw Billy. And once again, he wrote about how great he looked. And I was up there in that press box in Fort Lauderdale an hour, 15 minutes afterwards, and I was the only guy left. And here came Billy walking through the parking lot. He had a drink in his hand as big as him, and he was moving slow, and he was about 4'6" by then.
Yep.
And I said, God, he looks great. You're right, Sid.
Yeah, he looks wonderful.
When he died, the guy drove off the side of his truck. They went down a 300-foot embankment, and it landed in his driveway, basically. And Billy Reedy, a bar owner from Detroit, was first told the cops he was driving because he wanted to protect Billy, but Billy was dead. And then later he claimed he wasn't driving, and he ended up getting charged. But they don't know if Billy was driving drunk or if he was driving drunk, but somebody was driving drunk.
It was Christmas Day, wasn't it?
Christmas Day, in 1989.
Here's another cartoon. I'm on a texting string of various family types.
Yes.
Here's the latest cartoon. It's a guy sitting on the couch with a gal. It's not you. It's you 24/7.
Yeah.
And here's my favorite.
Kenny sent me one today that probably we can't repeat here on the air. What, didn't you send that one to me?
I don't think so.
Oh, somebody sent me one today that. Stop breathing so loud, you bleep.
Well, how is the game of faults going at your house? Have you won a round yet?
Today, I surprised her without talking to her with little country sausage and eggs and toast, and just took it up there. And so I'm.
Sounds good.
Last I saw her, things were going good, but that could change.
Everything can change.
Here's another one. Here's another one, and this is our house. It's the woman. She's holding a vacuum cleaner, and the guy's looking at her, and the woman says, "I'm going to be vacuuming. If you want to go into the farthest room and start asking me questions."
Yeah. That was. I did give you the quote from last week, right? About you want affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave you her quote last week. I said, "How is that? You didn't like that something I cooked," and she said,
You want affirmation.
Want bleeping affirmation for everything.
For everything.
You're right, but what the hell?
So I haven't had a chance to listen to this, gentleman, but our guy J.L. Colvin has a new video that he just posted.
Let's go. He doesn't use obscenity, does he?
I don't think so. But the beauty of the podcast is it doesn't really matter because I can cut it out if we need to. But the caption to this one, boys, is Donald Trump announces in a follow-up to his big #Trump Easter announcement that due to fake news and the COVID-19 coronavirus, he is now in talks with faith leaders to move Easter.
Okay.
And Andrew Cuomo apparently offers a rebuttal.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, he does
So the
Cuomo,
fake
too.
news over the last couple of weeks at a real ball, a real beauty, the fake news, where I said so simply and very nicely, to be honest, wouldn't it be nice if the churches could be open in full on Easter Sunday? I didn't say they had to be. I said it would be nice. Because I want our country back. You can't shut down a country. We have so many industries that need to be working. We have the great industries that have to get back to work, but we just want to get back to being a great country. We had an economy like really nobody's ever seen before until this COVID, coronavirus, call it the invisible enemy, trademark pending. And it hit us like nothing that's ever hit the country before. It's vicious, it's nasty, it's a sneaky enemy. And I just wanted us to be back, okay? So we couldn't do it, and the fake news made up lies. But what we are talking about now, which is great news for the country, is we're actually talking to great faith leaders, okay? We're talking great Mike Pence, and I are talking to religious leaders. I call them faith leaders. I like that term, faith leaders. I'm kind of a faith leader, if you think about it. And we're talking to all of them. We're talking to the Pope, okay? I like the old Pope. He was a little more conservative, said nicer things. We're talking to Joel Osteen, great faith leader, great private plane. And we're talking to Bishop Don Magic Juan, also good guy, great faith leaders. And we're going to move Easter. We're looking to move Easter. Nobody's ever done this before. This is like a crazy, incredible thing. But we're going to try to move Easter to the week of July 4th. So now we have America's birthday, followed by Jesus' birthday, which is, of course, Easter. So we're going to get it done. And then the fake news can't say that I was wrong. Because we'll be open by New Easter. We're calling it New Easter. But we have an announcement from the very angry Andrew Cuomo. We don't need to move Easter. We need more ventilators and creatine for my brother Christopher.
Creatine. Oh, boy, he's good. He's real good.
So we're going to have the birthday of our country and Jesus' birthday.
Yeah. It's like a package deal now.
yeah,
That
New
really
Easter.
wasn't the way Easter worked there, Don. That was not the birthday.
Well, 250 years ago.
Oh, my God, that guy's good.
Yep.
So, Such, are they? I saw a tweet over the weekend from Rookie. He's not going to church, right? He's watching it
Watching
on TV.
it on church. On
Laptop,
TV.
laptop, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys are all you good regular churchgoers are going to have to hit the wallet though and send the church some money, man. You're losing Palm Sunday and Easter. That's half your revenue.
Yeah, those are big hitter
Oh
days.
man, that's when even when I go to church on occasion, I throw a 50 in on Easter.
What's the town upstate New York with the horse racing, Pat?
Saratoga.
Saratoga. Red Smith would always do a column from Saratoga saying the Catholic Church there really appreciated that weekend because that's how they paid their heating bills in the winter.
He's the Red always called it the Holy Roman Church in print.
Right,
The
right.
Holy Roman Church.
Well, God, he's a Notre Dame guy.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he was through and through.
Yep. He wasn't no cheester. He was going to Easter and Christmas Day.
And he probably,
Yesterday did not feel like Palm Sunday.
I didn't even know it was Palm Sunday till you made note of it on Twitter.
It just didn't feel like
I
it.
had no idea.
Nobody even drove the donkey through Jerusalem or anything. Huh?
No.
drove
not-
it.
Well,
Come on, baby.
drove the donkey.
Yeah.
You're right up there with J.L. Carver. Well, we're going to drive that donkey.
meet the Easter Bunny.
Yep. Oh, God.
I still want, when this is all over
Here we go.
and I can get the wife's permission I'm going to Oman. Why?
Why?
I saw that golf tournament on Oman, and I want to stand on that Indian Ocean in Oman. It looks fantastic. Plus, all travel will be cheap for 6 months after this is over. This is the time to go, baby.
The European tours, closed too.
Oh
isn't
God,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
They-
okay.
They can't play anywhere. Nobody's doing anything. You know what really upset me? I was clicking channels yesterday, and I ran across the Johnsonville Cornhole Championship.
Oh, I saw that tweet.
And even that isn't live. You can't even. Shouldn't we be able to have live cornhole? Can't you separate everybody by 6 feet?
What the hell is a cornhole?
That's when you take a bag and try to throw it in a hole.
Yeah, beanbags is all. Is
We
also what it's
in
called.
Fulda, Minnesota, it referred to something else,
Right.
but now it refers to a game.
One of us on this show has participated in a tournament related to beanbags.
Any alcohol involved?
My God, I barely walked out of the Rochester Civic Center.
You know, I own the game, and I've never actually tried it once.
Oh, really?
My whole family is obsessed
Oh,
with
it's
it.
fun.
Yeah.
It's,
People
it's a
love
good
it.
time.
Yeah, they call it bags. I would rather have jarts. I would like to bring back jarts. Those were
Yeah,
those arrows,
sure, yeah.
leaded steel, and if one hit you in the head, it was going to stick in your head. That was
I'd like to bring back more croquet. I like croquet.
croquette. Yeah,
I
that's-
went up to Madden's 20 years ago, hard up for a column. And they had a big croquet tournament on a weekend. I love those croquet guys. You know, fat guys in white shorts
Right.
and drinking like fish
Yeah,
and pretending like they're competing at something. It's great.
Oh,
I
it's
love your
fantastic.
thought process. Bleep it. I'm driving to Madden's. I got to cover this croquet tournament.
Croquet, man. It was great. I'm seriously thinking, though, about a cornhole column this summer when this comes back
Oh.
to see what's wrong with these people.
I'm not kidding you, Pat. This would have been, well, it was before I had kids. So I'm saying 10, 12 years ago, a buddy of mine who was really into it wanted me to come down to Rochester to play with him. I said, all right, cool. These people were taking it so serious,
Really?
like it was a World Series game. It was nuts.
Joe, you covered the Silver Broom, right?
I probably did. The
you
curling.
up in
Yep.
Duluth, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I
World
think I did.
Championships. There's a little drinking involved in that sport, too.
I think so.
Did you
Cat-
see more action in that or the snowmobile race that you covered?
Snowmobile race was the only event I covered where I didn't see it.
I wonder if the bags crowd, the croquet crowd, are they the guys that do curling in the winter? Because doesn't that also involve heavy drinking?
Yes,
does,
yes,
yeah.
it does. Yes, it does. It's but Chaska's like the
yeah.
mecca for it now. They put in 6 rinks or something,
Something like
in
that.
the big building.
It's,
out there.
Curling.
it's a really cool
They're
facility.
packing them in.
Yeah.
Packing
Can
them
you
in.
get a drink if you're playing? I mean, is
yes.
it like bowling?
Oh, yeah. In fact, they have, I think it's inside.
So it's the new bowling alley because
Yeah,
all of our
yes.
small town
Yeah.
bowling alleys are closed. They're gone.
I think we ought to have bowling. Let's let have bowling.
hell yeah.
They wouldn't pass any viruses around in there, would they?
Bleep it, dude. Let's go bowling.
Will baseball get to a point? I'm ready to write off hockey and basketball. Will baseball get to a point where that will just say, well, even if we're healthy today, we're done. We can't have a season.
Yes, I would think if you get to July 15th maybe or so. But
That
they're
long,
talking now about Arizona and
Yep.
everybody mingling down there. But again, okay, everybody gets down there and then 2 players show up positive. Then what do we do?
Yep.
I said, I think I already used this joke, but I'll use it again. That's not it. That we
Never
have the
stopped you
pregame.
before.
We have the pregame lineup where everybody has their temperature taken. There you go. They're out. Okay, we got to let the gamblers know what Nelson Cruz's temperature is, whether he can play or not. Right?
And then, of course, you'd have if you're on the road, you have the other team's doctor. You go, Nelly can't play. His temperature's a little too high.
101.
Yeah.
So
101.
I have a serious question, and I'm wondering, and it comes from Judd's letter to Glenn Taylor and Kevin Garnett. Did you see that?
Yes.
Asking them to bury the hatchet. And my question to you, Royce, is, do we really need those two to get along?
Well, Glenn made the one unfortunate comment about Kevin bailing out on him the one year, and Kevin never got over it. I think that Glenn deserves a little slack from Kevin since he paid him roughly $300 million while he was here. You know, the 200 and some million dollars.
Yeah.
You could pretty much say, I don't think Ricey gave me a full effort for that $280 million. I'd say, oh, yeah, well, you might be right. I should have tried harder. Where's the check? I think Kevin's a little grumpy because he also got caught. Some guy got him for a lot of money once. I think so. One of those investment fellas took him for quite a haul, I guess. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Only he would have consulted us.
Yes, he could have. We could have got him in on that Fiat.
Got to give him a piping hot stock tip.
I just never really knew enough about the situation to give it any thought.
It's all based on one quote. Garnett's one of the most sensitive guys. Like so many superstar players, he's one of the most sensitive guys ever. I mean, LeBron James, God love him, is now the official spokesman on all topics for America. They had the video of the 17-year-old kid ducking over him in a game, and he
needed
tried
it
to have it
removed.
confiscated.
Yeah.
Confiscated the video.
So, speaking of Garnett, my one Garnett story, years and years ago, I've got a buddy that runs a very successful window treatments business. He doesn't deal with the public. He only deals with designers, right? Mm-hmm. One of his clients is Garnett, and we have to go out there, and I'm going to help him put some shades in one of Garnett's bathrooms, right? In the bathroom, one of the bathrooms, oh, by the way, when we pull up, there's a whole bunch of guys playing basketball in the driveway, and we rolled down the window, and I said, "What are you guys, the posse?" so anyway,
You're off to a bad start
right away. He's going, "Shut up! Don't say anything else." Just
because
don't
those
say
were the guys he had on his payroll.
Right. So his wife comes out. He was a newlywed, and she's wonderful, and she led us to the bathroom and whatever. She goes away. I go in his bathroom. He's got a water closet. That's just simply a separate room with the toilet in it, right?
Yep.
In the water closet is a magazine rack, 10 magazines. Every single one of the magazines, Kevin Garnett on the cover.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Where was the house? Where was the house?
It was on the other side of the road from Lake Minnetonka.
Doug Padilla's sister was his wife. Doug was a sports writer in Chicago, friend of mine, and his other sister was married to Jimmy Jam.
Wow. Yeah, she was a really nice gal.
Yeah,
she was really awesome.
She was a good gal. I don't know if they are still together or not.
And it was a nice house, and I don't know, he had like 1 or 2 acres there. And I remember also right around the same time, he bought a bunch of ATV four-wheelers so him and his buddies could tear it up around the house. And all the rest of the snobs out there in Lincoln,
did not like that.
Yeah, they shut him down. And
I really liked him the first 4 or 5 years. I thought he was a really good kid, but he got really sensitive. He got really.
What changed him, do you think?
I don't know.
Just publicity
I
in
don't
general?
know what it is. I don't know.
Geez, you get
Not winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, you see yourself getting slammed every day by meatheads. You know, that's
My greatest moment was when he threw the ball up in the air in Denver, and I was at the end of that game that they won that told you they were going to win the playoff series, the first ever. And he threw the ball way up, and I got my head down typing away on deadline. It hits me right in the top of the head.
Jeez.
Thing went 50 feet up in the air after it hit me in the head. And then so the next day at practice, I said, "Hey, cut me a check for $50,000 and I won't go to a lawyer for you hitting me in the head there. I think I got headaches." And he said, "Oh, that was you. Then I don't have to worry about it. I wonder who it hit." He said, "Boy, that ball went a long way up in the air."
Jeez.
He threw it way up and I go, bong.
You're lucky you didn't get knocked out.
The crowd around there thought it was rather hysterical, though.
Oh,
The
I would have
fans-
laughed my
the
butt
fans.
off, absolutely.
Not as bad as when I fell on my ass in Cleveland, though. When the John Elway game, I was walking down to the field, and they had these little 3-4 steps to
Yep.
get onto the field, and
Yeah.
you waited for him, and it was icy, and I slipped and fell on my ass.
Oh.
And all these people are screaming at me, "You fat," blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and they're all happy, and then Elway goes down the field and ties the game, and they win it in overtime. And I mean, what do you think now? You happy? You still happy?
Well, and didn't Coffee almost took you out? Was that the fight?
Coffee did take me
Or he
out.
did take
kicked
you.
me with both tennis shoes right in the head.
At least they're small feet.
That was on the bloopers for 10 years,
Oh, yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
That was on the bloopers for 15 years. Because he had, he was only 6'5", but he had size 16 feet. Good guy, though. I talked to him a few weeks ago, and he mentioned that. He said, "You still mad?" I said, "I wasn't ever mad at you."
No, he wasn't trying to do it.
No.
Yeah, if he was trying, he really would have taken care of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Suits, you're too wiry to get in any kind of trouble like that, aren't you?
He's quick. He's quick.
Well, I've had my share of incidents with your professional athletes throwing stuff at me.
Oh, he got taped to the goalpost, right?
What?
And
What?
Jim Marshall threw a football at me. And it went by my ear, and it sounded like a bullet. If that had hit me, it would have killed me. Yeah, they think they're funny. Ron Yeri threw his shoes at me.
His cleats?
Yeah. I had to duck a lot of stuff, you know?
My favorite moment remains I'm covering the team. They got Tanana and Ryan pitching against them, and for the Angels, and they lose on Monday night to Paul Hartzell. And my game story the next day says the California Angels completed a 3-game sweep of the Twins by winning the opener of the series because Tanana and Ryan are pitching. So they beat both of them.
Oh, boy.
I came in there Wednesday night and said, "I knew you could do it, fellas." And they were throwing jock straps and spikes and everything at me. I was in your corner all the way, guys.
I'm sure you were.
A little left turn, but we were mentioning the '87 series. It was just great listening to Herb in his prime
Yes.
on the radio. But
Yes.
because I was a kid, what was the expectation going into that? Into that series? Because I know they beat
I
Detroit.
think we thought they were going to win because Jack Clark was hurt and Pendleton was only playing
true.
against left-handed pitching, or right-handed pitching. So, the people thought the Twins were going to win. I think when they were behind 3-2, it was kind of a shock. Of course, then Wayne Hathaway won the series for them.
What that victory was when we won that was for me spring training for the next World Series we won, because everything I learned that night in downtown Minneapolis I put to good use and then exceeded that when we won again a few years later. Because man, oh man, what a party that was! Wow,
Oh, man.
It was
Yeah,
on a
there was
Sunday
something.
night, if I remember right, wasn't it?
Yeah, both times.
Yeah,
both
Sunday
times
night.
it was on a Sunday
Were you
night.
doing morning radio back then?
Yeah, and I went right from the party right to work. Yeah, and that was one of those days where when the office staff rolls in, they can smell the alcohol coming out of my body.
Oh, man, I thought I just saw a turkey in the yard, but it's a kid.
Oh, good.
I told you.
By the way, speaking of large birds that think they own everything, last night I made my nightly late trip to Byerly's to see if they got any toilet paper or anything.
Yeah.
And there's a goose standing there won't move,
In the road?
right in the road.
Yeah.
Come on, even the honk of the horn doesn't.
Yeah.
They have become too comfortable.
They hit. Well, when they lower their neck and start coming at you, hissing, there's going to be a fight.
We got to get rid of them.
You
man.
could-
I got to go.
You could.
Okay. All right, the traditional sign off. See you next week. Goodbye. See you, Joe. Sometimes it used to be see you later. Now it's
I gotta go.
I gotta go.